Among tower items, some are prohibited from being taken overseas. Usually, those are things like high-grade magic stones or runes and tickets that can decisively affect strategy, along with tower reward items and the like. In this case, it was the Liberation Rune Necklace, an item whose import and export were both prohibited. Even possessing one was illegal. The government banned it, but in reality, there was no practical way to catch anyone. Once players put one into their inventories, that was the end of it. How were you supposed to find something that would not even be caught at airport security? The transactions were simple too. Anytime, anywhere, meet up, take it out of the inventory, and the deal was done. Of course, because bank records remained, people usually traded in coins, NOVLIEG, HT or bearer bonds. That was how Chinese-made Liberation Rune necklaces were spreading all over the world. Japan was no exception. Japan was in the middle of a tourism boom. A black tower stood in the very center of Tokyo. Taking a photo of the Tokyo skyline with the black tower in it and uploading it to social media had spread like a fad. The United States, Europe, Taiwan, China, Korea, and more. Countless tourists flocked to Japan to see the alien black tower rising from the middle of the city. And naturally, among those tourists were players who had secretly brought Liberation Rune necklaces hidden inside their inventories. A quiet bar in Ginza, Japan. An old man sat across from a rough-looking young man. "It's here. Never been used even once." The old man set a necklace on the table. "You're a player too, so you can check it yourself, right?" Nomura Daikinzo silently stared at the Liberation Rune necklace, then reached out and checked its information. For 1 hour, the player's abilities could be manifested outside the tower for a total of 3 uses. Is it Chinese-made? Did you think it'd be Japanese-made? All Liberation Rune necklaces are Chinese. Nomura was a Yakuza. At the same time, he was also a player, and an unregistered one at that, not listed in the national database. He had awakened while living as a Yakuza, and now, as a leader, he controlled one district of Shinjuku, Tokyo. Do I have to give it back after I use it? Not at all. As long as you complete the mission, the necklace is yours. Doesn't matter how many uses are left. The mission was nothing less than a contract killing. Only one person needed to die. But the target was extremely troublesome, nearly impossible really, even if one unleashed one's full power, because the target was also a player, and a very famous one, someone Nomura normally could not even get close to. You know how hard it is to kill a player, right? I do, because they can run into the tower. That was right. No matter how dangerous the situation became, they could just enter the tower, and all the pursuer could do was stand there like a dog that had lost a chicken, licking his fingers in frustration. But don't worry, we can tell whether he's already used his daily entry. Nomura thought it over. Killing a person was not difficult. It was just that this was no ordinary person. He might have a Liberation Rune necklace too, but his level is lower than yours, isn't it? That much was true. The target's public level was level 31. Meanwhile, Nomura's level was on a completely different scale. Just succeed. We'll take care of the cleanup. Then Shinjuku, Roppongi, Kabukicho, Asakusa, they'll all be yours. No, I'll hand over all of Tokyo to you. Who? Honestly, Nomura was growing more and more tempted. It would be difficult, but if he succeeded, the reward was guaranteed. The old man sitting in front of him had the power to make it happen. What about a magic sealing scroll? I heard that thing can nullify magic itself. It hasn't made its way into Japan yet. You sure? Don't trust me. Do you think we'd start something like this without doing our research first? Nomura nodded. Right. He was not alone. All he had to do was succeed. The people behind him would handle everything afterward. Fine, I'll do it. Wise choice. The contract was sealed. We'll set the table. You just sit down and eat. How easy is that?" Understood. Nomura did not think for even a moment that this job would fail, even if the target was wearing a Liberation Rune necklace just like he was. There was nearly a 30-level difference in base level. There was no way he could fail. The tower administrators knew every single thing that happened inside the tower, who climbed to which floor, whether a run succeeded or failed, and if it succeeded, what rewards had been obtained. Then what about outside the tower? How did they keep track of the real world? The fastest method was to consume causality and read the consciousness of players who entered the tower. They could not know every detail, but they could roughly grasp the major events currently taking place outside the tower. That was why, although only in a very limited way, they had learned of the first Liberation Rune necklace incident in China, an incident that had begun in Chongqing, China. The death toll had exceeded 50. Good. At last, the seeds that had been sown had sprouted. Now the chain reaction would begin. The Liberation Rune necklace was a kind of virus. Once people witnessed its effects, no one could resist the temptation to use it. And in fact, that was exactly what happened. Starting in Chongqing, the use of Liberation Rune necklaces spread throughout all of China. But then, an engineer reported hesitantly to the designer. Apparently something called a magic sealing scroll has appeared. What's that? What the hell? An engineer reported hesitantly to the designer. Apparently something called a magic sealing scroll has appeared, ends, and it doesn't malfunction either. The engineer continued explaining. It did not interfere with the operation of the Liberation Rune necklace itself. Instead, it bound the magic manifested in the player's body afterward. A summoner again. It had to be his doing. Hanis times menabeels aftua mu gnines, menitidal struins herobielv, moody managlines. That had slipped his mind for a moment. Magical alchemy engineering. That damned trinity. Moody set smoots, minuigurum nanandina, manakolkol norio. He was so infuriating it felt as though the designer's head might burn white hot.
But the causality, we're taking this all the way.
Fine, then let's do it. Let's see who wins. The world of souls. The wish of the souls living there was to be chosen by a summoner and escape that wretched infinite prison. And beyond that, to achieve complete liberation from their binding contracts. Isn't the random summoning date around now? Feels like it already passed. Then who got out? Who knows? Ever since the White Tower appeared, anyone who leaves never comes back. Still, the ones before always made sure to brag before leaving. Those guys did, and that attention-seeking mage bastard did too. I guarantee it. If anyone here got summoned, they'd ask the summoner for permission, come back here, and lord it over the rest of us. Now that you mention it, yeah, how could anybody resist that? If it were me, I'd have bragged at least 3 times before getting my residency rights card. But the fact that it's this quiet means, hey, that's worrying. What if random summoning isn't happening anymore? No way. Could it be those administrator bastards again? Isn't there anyone who can tell us what's going on outside? The souls were deeply anxious. They were worried that something might have happened to the summoner. Prime Minister Maeda Kenji of Japan, a former player, was on his way in a bulletproof official car to attend a special lecture at the University of Tokyo. There was nothing especially remarkable about the lecture itself. The duties and rights of Japanese players, future plans for tower climbing, Japan's fourth industrial revolution based on new resources like high-grade magic stones, and so on. During the speech, he intended to express concern over the incident in China and announce Japan's decision to import magic sealing scrolls from Korea. But his head was already throbbing. Just thinking about how the right-wingers would come swarming like wild dogs over that announcement made him sick. relying on career again. Magic sealing scrolls are unnecessary. The civic consciousness of the Japanese people is the best in the world. There will be no accidents caused by liberation rune necklaces. Instead, thoroughly inspect tourists coming in from China and Korea. Even so, Prime Minister Maeda had decided to push through head-on. Those right-wingers would nitpick him no matter what he did. Still can't escape the ghosts of the past. Some things had to be acknowledged. Japan's bubble had already burst completely. The country currently leading global Black Tower raids was Korea. Did he like Korea? Of course not. They were only pretending to be friendly for strategic reasons, doing everything they could to prevent the collapse of the Tokyo Tower. Criticizing everything without knowing anything. That was when it happened. Clunk. The car suddenly stopped. Huh? Maeda immediately sensed that something was wrong. Why? There was no way a vehicle carrying the Prime Minister would stop in the middle of an operation, especially not on an elevated roadway. A bad feeling crept over him. The driver, the secretary, and the guards were all sitting still, taking no action at all. Hey, what do you think you're doing right now? There was no answer. Could this be? Prime Minister Maeda's judgment was swift. Why had he worn a liberation rune necklace in the first place? Because he feared that an unexpected situation might arise, like now. And so, almost instinctively, he muttered, "Liberation." At that instant, KRRRK. The roof of the car split open. Thud. A black spear pierced straight down into the interior. Maeda threw himself against the side door and leaped out of the car. Crunch, crash, but then a sharp pain shot through his shoulder. Thunk, 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 thunk. Even after he got outside the car, black spears continued to rain down on Prime Minister Maeda. He rolled across the elevated highway to evade them. Hitued, thunk, 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 thunk. Fortunately, none of the strikes hit a vital point, but Maeda's entire body was soon drenched in blood from the spear wounds. But he did not just endure it passively. He immediately drew a longsword, a tower reward item, from his inventory. Clang, 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 slash, slash. He counterattacked while retreating, and only then did he get a clear look at his opponent. He had no idea who the man was. An assassin, most likely. Someone who had activated a liberation rune necklace. Maeda's attacks shredded the mysterious assailant's shirt to pieces as well, and on the man's chest was a terrifying Oni tattoo. Yakuza. That was not some fashionable tattoo. It was unmistakably the tattoo of a Yakuza. The man curled his lips into a fishy grin and spoke. "You lied about your level, you bastard Prime Minister." Of course he had lied. As Prime Minister, his personal information was classified. Maeda's publicly known level was 31. His real level was 45. "You think you'll get away with this?" "Yeah, I'll be fine, as long as you die." Flash. The Yakuza, no, the assassin, lunged at Maeda in an instant. Slash. Spurt, 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 spurt. Clang, 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 clang. Driven back again and again by the savage spear thrusts infused with magic power, Maeda retreated step by step. It was not enough. Both of them had activated liberation rune necklaces, but the bastard's level was higher. More than that, none of the guards in the escort vehicles behind them had gotten out, which meant this was a prearranged trap. Nomura found it strange as well. He had clearly landed fatal blows, yet the man still had not collapsed. The bleeding had even stopped, and the wounds were closing. He didn't even drink a healing potion. Is it an item? And apparently not one marked tower exclusive. That seemed to be the case. As the belt around Maeda's waist flashed with a red glow, the wounds across his body healed. Damn it! Whoosh! Nomura charged again, spear in hand. Maeda sharpened his focus to the limit. He had to dodge. If he stayed here, he would die. Step! Twisting his body sharply, Prime Minister Maeda fled. Endure. If you endure, you live. Even if the bastard's level was higher than his, he still had a way to endure, his greatest treasure. The belt he was wearing right now. Thanks to it, he had gained 14 levels in a short time. But where could he run? A crowded area would be best. That was when he saw it, the Black Tower, rising from central Tokyo. There, I need to get there. His destination was the Tokyo Black Tower, Tokyo's greatest tourist attraction, which also meant the place where the most people were gathered. Maeda ran desperately. Nomura chased right behind him, White Tower floor 17. Juhyuk was in the middle of a phone call with his younger brother, Minhyuk. Young, he was a spy. This little punk. I told you already, I'm on good terms with Chairman Kim. That's the problem. You shouldn't be close to him. Unification is still a long way off. Shut up, I'm hanging up. But then a call came in from his mother, too. Son, you're not meeting strange people these days, are you? I trust you, right? In the end, Commissioner Jun Guangil stepped in. Yes, ma'am. The government is fully aware of the situation. That's right, so there's no need to worry. And thanks to that, I knew it. This man was trembling over some national security law nonsense and making a bigger fuss than our son. That's right, Mom. I take after you, not Dad. Sure enough, once a high-ranking official stepped in, everything got resolved. Thank you. It was nothing. It was fortunate that Commissioner Jun Guangil happened to be nearby. Well, lately he had been dropping by whenever he had time anyway. And since he was already there, they ended up talking about the large-scale plan for the 80th floor, too. If things go well, I think we may be able to come up with a strategy for the 81st floor and beyond, the giant monster zone. What? How? It's hard to explain in detail, but you remember when I borrowed the holy sword for the undead zone, right? Yes, of course. Something similar to that. There's a weapon currently under development. If it works, we may be able to kill giant monsters too. Oh, it's still only at the planning stage, so please don't mention it anywhere else. Understood. The bait had been dangled. Now all that remained was for Magic Engineer L to complete the improved magic firearm. Then, ding. A notification sound came from Jun Guangil's smartphone. He checked the message, tilted his head, then tapped the YouTube link attached to it, and his eyes widened in shock. Gasp! What is it? Did something happen? He showed the smartphone to Juhyuk. Apparently, 2 players using Liberation rune necklaces are fighting in the city. Really? Where? China? Japan? Japan. Juhyuk looked at the phone. With the Tokyo Black Tower in the background, a man in a suit was wielding a longsword, while another man fought with a long spear, grotesque tattoos flashing beneath his torn clothes. Wow, look at that tattoo. Is he Yakuza? Probably. But I've seen this guy somewhere before. That's Japan's Prime Minister, Prime Minister Maeda Kenji. Oh, the Japanese Prime Minister, the Prime Minister. What? What the hell was this? The Prime Minister of Japan and a Yakuza are fighting each other. Is this some AI deepfake video? No, it's real. Unbelievable. The Prime Minister and a Yakuza. It felt like King Kong versus Godzilla, Superman versus Batman, Alien versus Predator, something straight out of a Japanese anime or live-action film, except it was actually happening in the middle of Tokyo. Idiots got into a fight. To some, that was all it was. That belt the Japanese Prime Minister is wearing, it's a magic engineering item, and the latest version too. It'd be nice to take it apart and study it. To others, it was research material. It looks like an automatic potion injector. The item probably has a lowest grade inventory magic formula engraved into it. It's not my specialty, but if we take apart that belt, we should at least be able to figure out the magic circuitry. As expected of a prime minister, he was carrying something good. It would be nice to borrow it later so Magic Engineer L could study it. Anyway, all sorts of crazy things were happening. So who would win? Prime Minister Maeda finally managed to reach the Black Tower after enduring unimaginable hardship. The moment he arrived in the bustling district packed with people, "Huh? What's with that guy? Why is he carrying a weapon? He looks familiar. Isn't that the Prime Minister? Prime Minister Maeda. I think it really is the Prime Minister. Gasp. There's another one. He's holding a spear. Your phone. Hurry, get your phone out. We have to film this." People instinctively pulled out their smartphones. How could anyone miss something this bizarre? Yakuza Nomura Daikinzo arrived in the Black Tower district as well, still in pursuit of Maeda. He was completely bewildered. From the start, he had lacked information, and because of that, his judgment had been wrong. The possibility that the Prime Minister might be wearing a Liberation Rune necklace had been within expectations. Japan had already reached the 71st floor, after all. What he had failed to account for were two things. The first was level. Prime Minister Maeda's level was not 31. Even if he had raised it, Nomura had assumed it would be 2 or 3 levels at most. When had he raised it that much? A politician climbing the tower, of all people? Nomura's own level was 60. Excluding the nationally cultivated Japanese players, was there really any ordinary player in Japan with a higher level than his? He was unregistered, but he was probably at the very top. Because of that miscalculation, the very first step had gone wrong. He should have killed the Prime Minister on the elevated highway. After killing him, he should have staged it as a rampage by Chinese players. When people heard villain player using a Liberation Rune necklace, China was the first thing that came to mind. No one would have doubted it. Japanese politicians would mourn Prime Minister Maeda, supposedly killed by Chinese players, and immediately move toward military action. The self-defense forces, reduced after the failed coup in the past, would rise once more, join hands with Japan's right-wing politicians, and seize control of the country. And Nomura himself would become the Oyabun of the Tokyo Yakuza syndicates, ruling all of Kanto. That was how it was supposed to go. That was the correct scenario. But what was this? The Prime Minister had blocked his strike, counterattacked, and fled all the way here, and Nomura still could not finish him off. And then there was the second variable, the belt Maeda was wearing. Every time it flashed with red light, it automatically healed his wounds. That had not been part of the calculations either. It was the greatest obstacle of all. It was no different from fighting someone with a potion bottle shoved straight into his mouth. The whole tedious process, pulling a potion from the inventory, opening it, and either pouring it over the wound or drinking it, had been skipped entirely. A cheat item. I want it. I'll kill him and take it for myself before the police special forces arrive. Damn it! Slash, spurt, spurt, spurt. Nomura launched a lightning-fast thrust toward the Prime Minister's neck. Clang! Maeda blocked it with his long sword. But it was too much. He had barely managed to protect his vital point. Even so, the impact made blood gush from his mouth. His arm had been cut, his shoulder pierced, his side stabbed, his thigh slashed. Yet each time the belt flashed red, the wounds closed again. But the belt was nearing its limit. Once the healing potions stored inside were exhausted, the automatic healing would end. They were extremely expensive healing potions without the tower-exclusive designation, and he had only managed to fill the belt with them after tremendous effort. Even so, he endured somehow. Prime Minister Maeda poured all his strength into activating his skills and swung his longsword. He barely managed to launch a counterattack, but after blocking the magic-infused blade with the shaft of his spear, Nomura drove a kick straight into Maeda's abdomen. Wham! Guk! The Prime Minister was sent flying. Shh. The area around the Black Tower was a tourist district, a dense cluster of food stalls and souvenir shops. Maeda's body slammed directly into a takoyaki stand. This, run! My shop! Get away from here. Is your shop really the issue right now? People scattered in panic. Staggering, Prime Minister Maeda stubbornly forced himself back to his feet. I have to live. I have to survive and get revenge. A Yakuza player who was backing him. Obviously the right-wing faction of the Liberal Party. You think I'm going to die here? He too was descended from a samurai family. He had made it this far through sheer grit. If you survive, you win. Just hold on until the police arrive. Meanwhile, the live broadcasts had descended into chaos. People were cheering wildly at the unprecedented spectacle of a duel between Japan's prime minister and a Yakuza. Prime Minister or Yakuza, which side are we supposed to cheer for? Obviously the Prime Minister. Hang in there. Prime Minister, hang in there. Ilar, show them the Prime Minister's power. Ilar, look at that tattoo. That creepy Yakuza bastard. The tension is insane though. They're both using liberation rune necklaces. But what levels are they? They're ridiculously strong. Wasn't the Prime Minister supposed to be level 31? No way he's 31. He has to be in the upper 40s at least. Since when did a politician climb that high? That's why Japanese politics are such a mess. The footage looked like a hero action movie. The Prime Minister rising again and again despite his wounds. The Yakuza relentlessly trying to kill him. But don't they have magic sealing scrolls? Somebody could just tear one and end this. Japan hasn't brought them in yet. They're the country closest to Korea. How do they not have even one? Somebody fly to Korea and bring one back. Seriously, if civilians get caught up in this, it'll be a disaster. It had already been over 10 minutes since the battle began. Anyone could see the Yakuza had the upper hand, yet the Prime Minister was far more tenacious than expected. White Tower Floor 17. The summoned entities had gathered in a tight circle around a single smartphone, a live-streamed duel between players using liberation rune necklaces. Who could have imagined something like this? Japan's Prime Minister and a Yakuza manifesting magic in the real world and fighting each other? Oh man, that was close. Hey, he missed his chance there. He should have grabbed the ankle and cut him when the kick came in. Like this, then bam. Easy for you to say. Do you think they can actually pull that off? He's doing his best with the sword. He's unqualified to be Prime Minister. The head of a nation ought to be at least level 60. No one knew what level had to do with being qualified to serve as Prime Minister. Still, this was bad. At this rate, the Prime Minister might die. They had to save him. The newly replaced Japanese cabinet was a major client. At the very least, it was much better than the Liberal Party administration, and if this continued, civilians could get caught up in it. From the footage, even children were scattered around nearby. The thought of children made his chest feel uneasy. Growing up while watching things like this was terrible for a child's mental development. Children ought to see good things if possible. At that moment, the mad demon glanced at Ju Hyek's furrowed expression and spoke to Commissioner Jun Gwangil. Commissioner Jun? Yes, mad demon. Why doesn't Japan have magic sealing scrolls? They placed an order, but supplies are limited. We are distributing them in order of purchase. That Prime Minister truly is a fool. Even the United States, which is much farther from China, moved quickly. That much was true. If they had prepared sooner, none of this would have happened. This won't do. I'll go to Japan myself and use a scroll. I'm going to Japan. With the Ring of Tower exit, it won't take long. Pardon? Cossack flinched in shock. That will not do. This is a conflict among the Japanese themselves. There is no need for the young master to waste his mental energy on it. Please reconsider. The mad demon also chimed in. Lady Delay is right. What if some blind blade so much as grazes your skin? If someone must go, then let this old man accompany you. The summoner need only bring me to the Japanese tower. The other summoned entities joined in as well. Then take this mage instead. I'll burn everything to ash. No, take me. I can put them to sleep on the spot. One paralysis round from Veronica caliber would be enough. Send the warrior. Leave it to me. We have bar done as well. Me. Now everyone was fighting over who got to go, except Bloodwolf and Mari. Then let's all go. Yes, I'll prepare. Japan again, huh? Afterward, ramen? Juhyek left White Tower floor 17 and summoned his companions in the penthouse. Enter the tower, then exit. Spot. Juhyek's group appeared near the Japanese Black Tower, a short distance from the battle. Everyone's attention was fixed on the Prime Minister and the Yakuza, so no one noticed their arrival. And even if they had, it did not matter. Should we use a magic sealing scroll first? If magic vanishes in the middle of the fight, they may lose their strength and drop their weapons. Then a spear or sword could go flying and hurt civilians. In other words, they had to disarm them first. All right, let's disarm them. Who wants to go? This old man can use air seizing, bone stealing. I can slip in under stealth. My lord, grant this one the honor. Let the warrior take one. I'll snipe. Do we really need to go that far? Diamat? Yes, master. Put them all to sleep with the dream domain. At that very moment, me, let me do it. Rajix jumped up and down, waving both hands wildly. No, why Rajix? What was a laborer supposed to do? Our farmhand is too valuable. What if you get hurt? I can do it. He kept insisting. That was dangerous. Cossack chuckled. Don't underestimate a laborer. Idiots like these can be handled with farmhand-level pickaxe work. The assassin speaks true. Muscles forged through labor are the real thing. No need for a pickaxe. A broom would be enough to sweep them away. At his level, just rolling around near them would make them collapse. Really? Now he was suddenly curious about Rajix's fighting style. You're confident? Yes. All right, go ahead. The moment Juhyuk gave permission, boing! Rajix leaped into the air, spun 3 times mid-air, then rolled forward like a beam of light. Fast, insanely fast. Boom! A battle was unfolding with the Black Tower in the background. The food stalls and shops around it had already been wrecked by the clash between 2 players using Liberation Rune necklaces. Prime Minister Maida's consciousness wavered. The healing potions in his belt were almost completely depleted. Regret flooded him. I should have rested today. If he had not entered the tower at all, climbing at dawn had become part of his routine, and now that routine had come back to bite him. If he had managed to escape into the tower, this would already have been over. There would have been no need to come this far. Damn it. Why were the police taking so long? With this much chaos, they should have arrived long ago. Obvious. Someone was delaying the police response. Someone high up inside the force. Even after the administration changed, he had very few allies among the established power elite. Why else would he have earned the nickname Dishwashing Prime Minister? He was just a short-term stopgap brought in to clean up the Liberal Party's mess. Meanwhile, Nomura was growing desperate too. At this rate, the police would arrive, helicopters would be deployed, snipers would take position. If he did not kill him now, then he would be the one who died. Nomura pressed Maeda without letting up. A fierce battle, and it was nearing its end. Prime Minister Maeda's movements were visibly slowing. Whoosh! Swack! Nomura hurled his spear at Maeda's back as he tried to flee. Thud! The long spear skewered Maeda clean through like a kebab. Prime Minister Maeda collapsed forward. Nomura strode over and yanked the spear out of his back. Hehehe, in the end it was always going to turn out like this. What a pain. You bastard. I'll definitely. You'll what? He would die even if left alone. Lifting the spear high above his head, Nomura said, "No time. I'll finish you quickly. I'm busy too. I need to get somewhere safe and enter the tower." That was when it happened. Bong! Bounce, roll, roll. Huh? Bounce, bounce. Roll, roll, roll. What the? It came from the direction of the Tokyo Black Tower. Nomura turned his head. What is that? Something white and round came bouncing and rolling toward them at incredible speed. Bounce, bounce, roll, roll. Bong! Roll, roll, roll. Like a fluffy rubber ball covered in fur. What the hell? Nomura completely forgot about killing Maeda and stared blankly at the bouncing fur ball. Prime Minister Maeda did too. He was already on the brink of death. No, even if he just lay there, he would die soon anyway. He had been about to give up and let everything go when, that is, a dog? No, it could not be that round. Thump, thump, thump. Bong, bounce, roll, roll. Feeling threatened by the rubber ball charging straight at him, Nomura instinctively took an attack stance. Take this. Swish, huh? The spear vanished from his hands, and not just that. Swish, swish, swish. His pants, his shoes, his shredded top, even the fundoshi he wore underneath, and the Liberation Rune necklace hanging around his neck, everything vanished without a trace. Complete disarmament. All that remained was his naked body, covered in tattoos. Prime Minister Maeda ended up in much the same state. Bounce, bounce, roll, roll. Huh? Swish, swish, swish. His armor vanished. So did the long sword in his hand, and the Liberation Rune necklace as well. Fortunately, his ordinary clothes were left untouched. This is insane. Unbelievable. That creature, I've seen it somewhere before. He finally remembered. The creature that had appeared during the terrorist incident at the opening ceremony for the Pyongyang branch of the Korean Awakening administration. The hamster that had smoothly made the terrorists' nuclear backpack disappear. A sliver of hope emerged. Had it come to save him? Nomura could not hide his shock, stripped naked in front of everyone. That thing, that animal, not even a human, had dared to do this to him. Yar! Swish! Nomura pulled a mass-produced Japanese sword made from tower metal out of his inventory, pointed it at the furball and shouted, "Die!" But there! Bong! Bounce, roll, roll. Wham! Struck head-on by Rajix's violently spinning rolling attack. Goo! Whoosh! Crash! Nomura was slammed into a Black Tower souvenir shop and lost consciousness. Rajix had stored away everything that could pose a threat into subspace. The subspace ability he had developed after his evolution, remote storage. With most of the danger removed, Rajix leaped and landed in front of the dying Prime Minister Maeda. Boing! Bounce, roll, roll, thump. Huh? Tilting his head. Swish! He pulled out a healing potion without the tower-exclusive designation and splashed it all over Maeda. Sizzle, says, zess. The wounds closed. The bleeding stopped. Thank you. Then he pulled out another healing potion and pushed it into Maeda's mouth like a baby bottle. Only then did he take out a magic sealing scroll. Reap, pum, bode, bow, a wave spread outward. Seriously, Juhiek let out a hollow laugh. Using the sealing scroll after everything's already over. The order felt a little backward, but the result's the same anyway. Tokyo clash finished, the Yakuza subdued, the Prime Minister saved. The people watching it live went wild, thunderous applause. Clap, 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 clap. Social media exploded. He's back again. He's so cute. L, is he trying to attack my heart? That's cruel. So cute. L, he did it. Look at him go. A life and death duel between the Prime Minister and a Yakuza. It had been thrilling, intense, and unforgettable. That is, until the fluffy, bouncing furball appeared. The furball stole not only the Yakuza's equipment and clothes, but everyone's attention as well. The tourists who had come to see the Black Tower ended up witnessing something truly extraordinary. Clap, 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 clap. The applause did not stop. Rajix responded to the cheers, waddling around and waving his short arms. People waved back. How could they not? Puffing out his chest, shrugging his shoulders, and strutting proudly around the scene, Rajix drew stunned reactions from the summoned entities. His hunger for validation is worse than any mage's. It seems he was starved for attention. Maybe he just wanted to show off the fact that he evolved. Attention-seeking is incurable. Once you've tasted it, you can't quit. That's cosmic-level attention whoring. And then, roll, 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 Rajix started rolling again. Shook, shook, shoo, shook, shook, bounce. Bounce, roll, roll, shook, shook, shoo, shook, shook. Juhyek stared. He could not believe his eyes. What is he doing now? Looks like he's cleaning. No, why is he cleaning now? He cannot stand filth. He is the great laborer in charge of dimensions after all. Or maybe he's just putting on a show to get even more attention. That did seem likely. The concrete and asphalt became spotless. L, the cutie is cleaning. L, and he's good at it. Vacuum cleaners can't even compare. Come clean my room too. My ex is trash, can novelite. Don't copy, read here away too. At that moment, wheeing, sirens blared as the police finally arrived. They sure came quickly, after making absolutely certain the Yakuza had already been subdued. Let's go. Yes, and then, spot. Watching from a distance, Juhyuk entered the tower with his group. Thus ended Rajix's live Tokyo performance in overwhelming success. Rajix's live performance in Tokyo. Once again, the entire world was shaken. The reaction was even hotter than during the Pyongyang nuclear backpack terror incident. Back then, he had completed the mission and disappeared immediately. But in Tokyo, he captured Yakuza, saved the Prime Minister, took a lap around the city, and even waved, complete with fan service. Who the hell is that guy? A summoned entity? Some kind of spirit or divine beast? The media blasted out breaking news. TV stations put together special programs, and all day long, videos of Rajix spinning around Tokyo swallowed up SNS and YouTube. Meanwhile, on White Tower Floor 17, Juhyuk praised Rajix, who had returned after flawlessly completing the mission. Ah, our dimensional farmhand. Such a peaceful approach. I like it. Ooh, 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 but stripping them down to their underwear was a little too. Ooh, let's just burn the underwear. Ooh, ooh. Gandale, who had clearly been waiting for this, immediately stepped in. This maiden suffered severe mental shock after witnessing a naked Japanese man. Take responsibility, Rajix the dimensional farmhand. Come into this maiden's arms. Healing is required. Where do you think you're going? Rajix fled in terror. Rumble, bounce, spin, spin, spin. He froze for a moment. Then, right in front of the Magitech engineer L, he landed with a thud. SSSK. He pulled out the items and clothes he had collected in Tokyo. Hesitantly, L pinched the potion auto-injection belt lying among the loincloths and torn clothes with 2 fingers. Thank you, dimensional farmhand. I'll study this thoroughly, and, I don't need the rest, so I'll burn it. Yum. I don't need the rest, so I'll burn it. Ziing. A destruction beam shot from L's eyes. Crack. If W.O.sh, the clothes turned to ashes. Juhyek saw it too. Rajix had brought back the belt item Prime Minister Maeda had been wearing. So Novelite, exclusive on Novelite, he brought that back too. It couldn't be helped, since he had needed to disarm him at the time. Once Elle finishes examining it, I'll have her return it. Then Cossack spoke up with an unusually serious expression. Still, I think this crossed a line. What did? The administrators, those bastards have lost their minds, going on and on about normalization. Mad Demon chimed in. Indeed. If the Liberation Rune Necklace situation continues, the world will be drenched in blood, Mackenzie added. Even with mana-sealing scrolls, it isn't a complete solution. Incidents like this will keep happening. After all, just because there was a law didn't mean criminals stopped committing crimes. It had to be stopped at the source. But in the current situation, there was no clear solution. We need to put heavy pressure on the administrators, let them know we won't just sit back and watch. How? How about sending one of them on a business trip to the world of souls? A business trip to the world of souls to inform them of our situation. Isn't this a clear violation of causality? They had done something similar before. When the catalog expansion was blocked, Cossack and the other summoned entities had rallied the souls and even staged protests. Assassin, you see one thing and miss the next. We are all residents of the White Tower now. How exactly are we supposed to go to the world of souls? Random summoning. It's been blocked for 100 days. What, 90 left? Tsk, tsk, I knew you'd say that. No alternative plan. But Juhyuk stepped in. I think it might work. What? How? He explained the method. Expulsion. Just leave the White Tower. Expulsion. Revokes registered resident status and expels the resident from the White Tower. If their address changed like that, then after being unsummoned, they should return to the world of souls. But there was a problem. It's not difficult, but the question is whether re-registration is possible. If it isn't, we can't expel someone lightly. No matter what, can we really expel one of our own? Let's drop it. Cossack looked disappointed. At least try it as an experiment. If someone gets expelled, won't a message pop up explaining what happens? Who? Want to try it yourself, Mr. Cossack? You said we should expel someone. The risk was too high. Sure, it was expulsion from the White Tower, not the catalog. But was it really right to throw someone out just to spread the word? Then, at that very moment, Geppetto raised his hand high. Summoner, yes, please expel me. Huh? Out of nowhere? Why? Ever since I was summoned, my presence has been non-existent. I may as well not be here. Hard to deny that. Everyone else earns achievements, but I have nothing. Please send me to the world of souls instead. I want to become a liaison between there and White Tower Floor 17 and help you, Summoner, Geppetto's earnest plea. Tears welled up. Juhyuk felt guilty too. He hadn't taken proper care of Geppetto all this time. It's okay. You don't need to force yourself to earn achievements. Just resting on White Tower Floor 17 is enough for me. Once we gather runes and badges, I'll definitely help you break through your rank. Still, Geppetto stood firm. Please send me. This is the mission given to me. Grant me the chance to fulfill it. Sigh. What should I do? Geppetto's desperate expression. The summoned entities were moved by his sacrifice. Should we try it once? How exactly does expulsion work? Juhyuk pulled up the resident list. When he tapped Geppetto's entry, a button appeared beside it. Expel. It won't expel him immediately, right? Tap. You wish to expel resident Geppetto? Upon expulsion, re-registration will be impossible for 1 month. Oh, then 1 month without registration requires the issuance of new residency rights. Re-registration also requires 1 kg of top-grade magic stones. That penalty was acceptable, and Geppetto wanted this so badly. After explaining what would happen if he were expelled, "I'll send you on a 1-month assignment. I'll keep summoning you anyway. Instead of White Tower floor 17, you'll stay at the penthouse." "Thank you." Everyone applauded Geppetto's sacrifice. Clap, 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 clap. Geppetto looked bashful, and so, spot, Geppetto accepted Juhyuk's mission and returned to the world of souls. At least that was a relief. He wasn't gone forever. They could re-register him after a month. Then Mackenzie seemed to have something to say. He hesitated and fidgeted. "Summoner, this alone won't be enough. I have an idea." "Go ahead. It'll require gathering everyone's thoughts. I believe a briefing is in order." "A briefing, huh? If there's something to do, then we should do it." "Ha ha ha, thank you. I'll prepare diligently." At that moment, Cossack narrowed his eyes at Mackenzie. Mackenzie stared back without backing down. A silent war. At Mackenzie's briefing venue, Juhyuk and the summoned entities gathered in one place. A monitor for communicating with Mary had also been set up. Cossack looked deeply displeased. He was unsettled. Until now, he had served as the moderator for almost every briefing. That role had given him special authority and pushed him into the number 2 spot. Now this old mage had snatched the moderator's seat, truly unsettling. "Greetings, everyone. This humble mage considers it the greatest honor of his life to serve as today's briefing moderator." Nine-circle mage Mackenzie stood at the podium, neatly arranged robes, a spotlight shining down from above, like a CEO unveiling a new product at some item corporation. This humble mage is the Lord of Flame, who conquered the 83rd floor's Arachroid at S+++ rank. Astonished the world with an enchantment bracelet for escaping obesity, first proposed scroll magic as an instant solution to the summoner's worries, and also participated in bullet attribute research. Suddenly, Mad Demon cut him off. "Too long. Stop. Even that assassin bastard doesn't ramble this much. Knows, but I still have more. Mackenzie, you're getting cocky over a few minor achievements. Pathetic. I was only stating facts. Did you make the scroll by yourself? Elle and the workshop did all the work. Bragging because you carved a few mold plates? Ridiculous." Mackenzie froze in embarrassment. Cossack smirked bitterly at the sight. Damn bastards. No helping it. Since his achievement flex had failed, he went straight to the point. "As you can see from this incident, the administrator's schemes are crossing the line more and more." Everyone nodded in agreement. "Why do you think they scattered Liberation Rune necklaces so recklessly? All of this is aimed at our summoner. Obvious to anyone. Since they couldn't do anything inside the tower, they were trying something outside, and in China, which already had poor relations with Korea. We must also consider the possibility of war. Of course, if those idiots try anything, this mage will wipe them out with a meteor summon." At that, Cossack raised his hand sharply. Mackenzie hesitated for a moment. What was that guy about to say when he raised his hand? With no choice, Mackenzie called on him. "Old mage, have you still not fixed that bad habit of yours? What's so great about summoning meteors? What are you going to do if they retaliate with nukes? We can take refuge on White Tower floor 17. And everyone else? What's the point if the whole world is destroyed and only we survive? Withdraw the meteor remark." Juhyuk nodded too, agreeing with Cossack. "That's right. What was the point of surviving alone?" Mackenzie stole a glance at Juhyuk's reaction. All right, I'll withdraw it. Think before you speak from now on." After clearing his throat once, "In any case, what we must prioritize now is, first, the summoner's safety. Second, the summoner's safety. Third, the summoner's safety. For that, the summoner must become stronger. Mackenzie waved a hand through the air. SHRRR. Tiny, firefly-like lights gathered and formed words. One said, top-grade nectar. The other, top-grade elixir. The way to crush the administrator's ambitions before they can act is for the summoner to grow stronger quickly. But then, FWOSH, Mackenzie activated blazing visual magic. At the same time, two letters appeared right above his head, Rage. Mackenzie shouted in a thunderous voice, "And yet this mage cannot understand it. What on earth have you all been doing until now? You've already climbed into the 80s. Shouldn't you have produced at least one top-grade nectar or top-grade elixir by now?" Nectar, a potion that greatly extended a human's natural lifespan when consumed. Elixir, depending on the type, it could strengthen the body, revive someone instantly upon death, or provide complete healing. Juhyuk had heard of them before, from Mary. Now that I think about it, she said you start being able to gather the materials once you reach the 80s, but she hadn't specified exactly which floor, probably because of restrictions. For that reason, this mage, exercising the authority of the briefing moderator, will summon the shut-in alchemist, Alia Mari. Is this a hearing or what? At once, the chat screen appeared on the nearby monitor. Ding. Mari, I'm busy. Why the hell are you calling me, you $hash and at and bastards? Mari was within earshot, but the conversation was happening through chat. The summoner is right beside you. Yes, you called. Hehe, Mackenzie interrogated Mari. As an alchemist, you should have been the first to manufacture elixirs and nectar, yet none have been made. Why is that? Boss, because of the materials. So far, we've only obtained 3 with high versatility: the 1,000-year Fox Orb, top-grade magic stones, and the Demon Lord of Nightmare's Eyeball. If the 1,000-year Fox Orb has such high versatility, what can substitute for it? Phoenix feathers and the fruit of the world tree. Then all we need is one more, either phoenix feathers or the fruit of the world tree. Right, but the more materials we have, the better. The more the merrier. If Phoenix Ash shows up, that'd be the cherry on top. And the Demon Lord of Nightmare's Eyeball. That goes into everything too. It's part of the body of a top-grade demon race with a long lifespan, so it can be used as material for both nectar and elixir. At that moment, Cossack shot his hand up to ask a question. We just so happen to have a defector nightmare demon here. Diamat, if we pluck out her eyeballs, can we keep using them as material? Gulp. Diamat's body trembled. Juhyuk remembered. Back on the 80th floor, a copy of her had been defeated, and the reward had been Diamat's eye. No way. No way. No. Why not? That nightmare demon is only SS rank. She's not a lord, so even if you pull out her eyeballs, they'd be completely useless. Phew. Diamat let out a sigh of relief. If she were an RSS rank succubus queen, the demon lord of nightmares, her eyes would have been plucked out on the spot. They were absolutely capable of that. Well, even if she died, they could just revive her. I should never break through my rank. If she became a succubus queen, she might get treated like livestock for eyeball harvesting. Anyway, if we can't make them because we're short on materials, then we just need to obtain the materials. The real problem is the dragon heart. If we could secure a heart, even from a worm, or even a hatchling. I understand. Briefing moderator Mackenzie turned his head toward Juhyuk. Then the answer has emerged. That answer is, once again, words appeared above his head, ascending to uncleared upper floors. Summoner, now you must decide. We will follow, staking our lives. We ascend to the upper floors. After resting. Pardon? Why? Mackenzie looked flustered. Let's take it easy. Is everything always about work? The tower's collapse deadline is still far off. No, who knows what those administrators might do? We need countermeasures. We already have them, mana-sealing scrolls. If you consume nectar, you could live 1,000 more years. Hey, what's the point of living that long by myself? Say I get married, say I have kids, then my children die before me. Wouldn't that feel a little, At that moment, Gayam Dale spoke up. Then perhaps we should shift our focus to elixirs. Elixirs, with body-strengthening elixirs, young master will gain greater strength. And with elixirs of resurrection and elixirs of healing, we can prepare for any possible misfortune. That was tempting, especially if they stocked several bottles of revival elixir that could even bring back the dead. Should we go up? You must go up. Ascending is the right call. There are 9 RSS ranks. What is there to fear? Elemental Core Veronica Caliber, combat ready. Wah, Agua pain. Why did those administrator bastards have to go and cause trouble like this? Mackenzie looked at Cossack with a sly smile, briefing success. He had finally taken a step forward. His position as number 2, this was a critical matter. When the entire tower was conquered and the age of liberation arrived, who would stand at the summoner's side, number 1 and number 2? One spot was already decided. Rajix would stand on the right. Then who would stand on the left? It had to be him. Cossack seemed to realize that too. He glared at Mackenzie with fierce eyes. The battle for second in command was growing bloodier by the moment. In any case, Juhyuk decided to challenge the 86th floor. They entered the 86th floor. The environment was a sweltering volcanic zone. A massive volcano loomed in the distance. And then, Phoenix. Defeat one superheated cataclysm Phoenix. Ith Phoenix huz. Ith Phoenix, a Phoenix huh. It's a Phoenix indeed. A Phoenix, you say. So it's the vermilion bird. How are we supposed to kill that thing? They might end up using another tower clearing mission reset ticket. The world of souls. The souls were still anxiously worrying about the summoner in the outside world, but there was nothing they could do. How were they supposed to know what was happening outside? With the White Tower in place, even their last link to the outside world had vanished. And then, greetings, brothers and sisters. This is Geppetto, reporting in. Geppetto? What is that supposed to mean? Why are you asking me? How would I know who some nobody is? Ah, come to think of it, I have heard that name. Wasn't Geppetto that SS-rank true-blood vampire brat who used to go on about gourmet food? A vampire? Then what is so special about him that he is making formal greetings like this? He is probably just showing off because he is true blood. Get lost, brat. We are already on edge worrying about the summoner in the outside world. Geppetto felt hollow. They did not even know that he had been dispatched here. Whether on Earth or in the world of souls, having no presence was the same. You see, I was a resident of the White Tower. What are you talking about? Delusions are free, but do not get cocky. We are not in the mood for jokes. I am a proud, true-blood vampire, and I am a summoned entity chosen by the summoner. I have merely been dispatched here temporarily for a task. The world of souls fell silent. This was a place where communication was not done by voice, but through mental waves. Lies were exposed instantly. I can tell you are not lying, but then why are you here? We also know about the White Tower, so if you have returned here, that means, did this guy screw up and get kicked out? What kind of mistake did you make for the summoner to abandon you? That is not it. Slowly and in detail, Geppetto laid out the story, starting with the abnormal reward system of the Liberation Rune necklace, the events unfolding on Earth because of it, how he ended up here, and even why random summoning was currently impossible. Then, impressive vampire Geppetto, I apologize for underestimating you. Indeed, to reject the sweetness of White Tower Floor 17. I praise your restraint and spirit of sacrifice. Truly a true blood. Now I understand why you were sent. You are a genuine loyal retainer. I acknowledge you. Praise poured in. Geppetto felt good. When had he ever received such praise before? At the same time, criticism of the administrators followed. Each soul spoke in turn. The new administrators have crossed the line again. They take causality far too lightly. They do not understand how terrifying it is to violate the laws. We cannot just leave this alone. Still, it is fortunate for the summoner that a Magitech engineer has joined him. Waiting a mere 100 days is something we can tolerate. Then shall we begin. We must pull down the administrators again, just like before. I, Geppetto, place my trust in you, brothers and sisters. The soul's fervor merged into one. The mental waves they released became a massive current that shook the infinite barrier. The environment of Republic of Korea Black Tower, NO1, 86th floor, was volcanic terrain. In the distance, the crater of a volcano could be seen. Above it, a flying monster burned with intense flames. To fight that thing, do we have to go all the way over there? There was no way to know whether pulling it was possible. Not that it would make much difference even if it was. A phoenix, or one of the 4 divine beasts, the vermilion bird. Originally, the phoenix's fire was fire that did not die. With phoenix meaning an undying bird, it symbolized immortality, but it also possessed another kind of fire, fire as an elemental attribute. That was why its entire body was a mass of flame. Phoenix ash and phoenix feathers were materials used in various elixirs. They were also used for nectar. They could be substituted with a 1,000-year fox orb, but the more materials they had, the better. Whoosh! Every time it flapped its wings, terrifying flames rippled through its entire body. When Juhyuk first saw the phoenix, his honest impression was, "It's beautiful." He meant it. It hardly even felt right to call it a monster. Nine-Circle Mage Mackenzie nodded in agreement. I'm not saying this just because I practice fire magic, but in many dimensions, fire symbolizes the soul. Unlike the rotting physical body, the essence of the soul is eternal. Thus, the phoenix is the incarnation of immortality, a spirit body made of pure flame. Snicker. A mocking laugh came from beside him. Pure my ass. What is your problem? If you have complaints, say them properly. Is this really the time to admire the phoenix? How are we supposed to deal with that thing? That is, can your precious fire magic deal with it, old mage? It could not. How were you supposed to fight fire with fire, especially against a spirit body that had no physical flesh? If he unleashed hellfire on the phoenix, it would just absorb the flames and grow even stronger. Who was it that said we should challenge the 86th floor? Anyway, I'm out. What? I'm not even a warrior. The old man was quiet at first, too. This maiden only followed because the old mage sounded so confident. Oh, Light, what can an SS rank possibly do here? We only followed because you insisted we climb. Same here. Elemental Core Veronica Caliber. Those who devised the operation must take responsibility. Nyan's traitors. You really could not trust these people. When it was about gathering nectar and elixir materials for the summoner, everyone had been full of enthusiasm. So is there a method or not? If it were a silver dragon's ice breath, it could extinguish those flames. Say something realistic. Where are we supposed to find a dragon here? With 9-circle wide area freezing spells like Blizzard, Frozen Storm, and Frost Orb. Are you an ice mage now? Can you even cast Blizzard? Mackenzie was miserable. How was he supposed to know a phoenix would show up on the 86th floor? This is bad. We may end up using another tower clearing mission reset ticket. If we use a ticket every time we climb, we'll go bankrupt. Juhyuk felt sorry for him. Poor old mage. Why had he insisted on hosting the briefing? You pushed yourself too hard. Quietly following along would have been enough. This was why E-types were dangerous. They never realized how easily things could turn against them. Anyway, what we need is ice element magic or some kind of freezing attack. I once learned a skill called Ice Spear. Guandale hurriedly cut in. I do not mean to belittle young master, but such moderate freezing methods would not freeze even a single phoenix feather. True, just looking at it made that obvious. So it doesn't have a physical body. If it's a spirit, it is made of fire. However, it is said to leave behind feathers and ash when it is destroyed. How do we kill it? By extinguishing the flames. Should they throw water on it? Water would be insufficient. Unless you dropped it into the sea, it would turn to steam the instant it touched it. So that would not work either. I knew this would happen. Fire magic is outdated. It has fallen behind the times. These days, cold noodles taste better than hot noodle soup. What was with Cossack? He was bullying the poor old mage way too much. What we need is not someone who starts fires. We need someone who puts them out. Mackenzie wilted. Sniff. Don't be too harsh. There might be another way, like when we blew up the super-colossal monster Titan behemoth with a nuke. At Juhyuk's words, El's eyes widened in shock. A nuke? You don't mean a nuclear explosion inside the tower? You didn't know? Well, back then you were a tower monster, and your mind wasn't exactly right. That was true. Back when her summoned entity status had been stripped away, she had been nothing more than a rampaging giant-class monster. Ha ha ha, that was the best moment. Indeed, just thinking about it still gives me chills. It was a brilliant change in perspective. The administrators must have fainted, though it's blocked now. Mackenzie nodded. The nuclear explosion on the 81st floor. The world of souls was in an uproar back then, too. Elle still could not believe it. Still, a nuke. Then she noticed Radjik's, and she understood how a nuke had been brought into the tower. With his subspace backpack, nothing was impossible. No wonder he was #1. The more she saw him, the more mysterious he seemed. Meanwhile, Mackenzie narrowed his eyes, deep in thought. His mind tingled. It feels like something is about to click. Thoughts flashed through his head. Then, huh? Mackenzie's eyes snapped open. What the assassin had said earlier. What we need is not someone who starts fires. We need someone who puts them out. And the nuclear strategy, a change in perspective, plus Radjik's subspace. Then, summoner. Yes? I've just thought of an idea. Go ahead. What if we bring a fire truck into the tower? What kind of nonsense was that? A fire truck? Yes, I have always had an interest in fire, so I have seen them on the news, Mackenzie elaborated. Some fire trucks do not spray water, but special chemical extinguishing agents. Huh? Chemical fire trucks? Exactly. If we bring those into the tower and spray that phoenix with them. Oh, that's actually a pretty good idea. With the dimensional farmhand being RSS rank, transporting around 10 chemical fire trucks should not be a problem. Whash, 10 vehicles. Make it 20, no, 30 would be even better. It was worth trying. If dozens of fire trucks discharged chemical extinguishing agents all at once, that was basically dragon breath. Ah, our genius archmage Mackenzie, truly worthy of the 9 circles. Your mind is absolutely brilliant. You flatter me. At Juhyuk's praise, Mackenzie practically sparkled from head to toe. An 86th floor firefighting strategy. How could anyone come up with something like this? Starting fires is important, but putting them out is just as important. Shouldn't one always double-check even extinguished flames? Absolutely, as expected of a professional. Mackenzie was thoroughly encouraged by Juhyuk's praise. Seeing the tide had turned, even Cossack chimed in. I was just about to suggest the same thing myself. The fire truck strategy. Good idea. First, they exited the tower, and an amount reason of this floor will be reset, and your entry record will be deleted. Screech, nanamthin handanampen to fombam coat, rumbi hendar num. First things first, call Commissioner Jun Guangil. If they were going to secure fire trucks, he was the man to talk to. They also had to make sure it would not interfere with actual firefighting operations, back on White Tower Floor 17. One of the great things about White Tower Floor 17 was being able to meet Commissioner Jun Guangil. Send a message, and he would arrive within 10 seconds, as long as nothing urgent was happening. That was why Juhuk had granted him permanent residency rights. Chairman Jung Dong-hoon too. Thinking about residency rights suddenly reminded him of Geppetto, their gourmet vampire. He said he wanted to drink my blood, didn't he? When I get the chance, I should draw some blood and bottle it for him, with a straw included. Spot. Jian Guangil entered White Tower Floor 17 at Juhyuk's call. Mr. Bong Player, I'm here. Ah, sorry for making you come back and forth all the time. Not at all. Please feel free to call me any time. Juhyuk showed him footage of the 86th floor monster in Republic of Korea Black Tower, No. 1, the superheated Cataclysm Phoenix. This thing? Yes, floor 86, a phoenix, a gigantic bird made entirely of flames, the opposite of the Colossus Condor. They say it's a spirit body, meaning it had no physical flesh. Can it be defeated? I'm not completely sure, but we do have a method worth trying. Juhyuk explained the plan, fire suppression using chemical fire trucks. What? Jun Guangil looked dumbfounded. Fire trucks? You mean the fire trucks I'm thinking of? Yes, those fire trucks. Then he pointed at Radix. This is only possible because we have Mr. Radix. That was right. It was absurd, but no one else could possibly replicate it. So we need to secure chemical fire trucks. Not water trucks, ones that spray special extinguishing agents. How many? At least 20 to 30, preferably more. Jun Guangil nodded. That's doable. I'll contact the National Fire Agency. We need to make sure this doesn't interfere with actual firefighting operations. Don't worry. If vehicle availability becomes an issue, I'll put in a request to U.S. Forces Korea, USFK? They operate their own firefighting units. Oh, U.S. military equipment would be big and high quality. Will that work? One phone call should do it. They'll cooperate. Right. He could ask Secretary Macmillan. Anyway, they could not borrow everything for free. There had to be compensation. What would be appropriate? Money was the only thing he really had. Commissioner. Yes, go ahead. I was thinking of making a donation to the Korean Fire Agency. Now he understood how important extinguishing fires really was. Korean firefighters, no, firefighters all over the world. They fought monstrous disasters like phoenixes in the real world. Borrowing fire trucks without offering anything in return would have been shameless. Ah, yes. Then may I ask roughly how much you're considering donating? How much should it be? He honestly had no sense for that kind of thing. It's not like I've ever donated before. 100 million won? That felt cheap. 10 billion? Still didn't feel right. Commissioner Jun knew exactly how much money Juhek made. The anti-obesity bracelet, mana-sealing scrolls, dream resistance kits, all kinds of item sales. Soon they would even start renting out magic guns. Money was overflowing, so much that he did not even know how much was sitting in his accounts anymore. It was probably well into the trillions by now. Ah, whatever. He had casually bought a 3 trillion won building in Gangnam before. Firefighters. I'll cover it this time, buy plenty of good equipment, and stay safe while fighting fires. So instead of stingily donating a few tens of billions, I'm thinking of donating around 100 billion won, a true alpha male donation. Pardon? The summoned entities reacted instantly. Wow, wow, that is blazing hot. As expected of the summoner, truly magnanimous. Wow, Juhek felt his chest swell with pride. Well, it isn't strictly necessary. What's the point of making money if you don't use it at times like this? Understood. I'll contact the fire agency and arrange the donation under the top player's name. Perfect. Now his conscience was clear, and so the operation to secure chemical fire trucks began. The arranged trucks started arriving one after another in the parking lot of the Korean Awakening Administration. Whenever he had time, Juhik summoned Rajix, had him store the fire trucks in his subspace, and then transfer them to the White Tower. In total, they secured 30 fire trucks. Did they all fit? Of course they did. He was RSS rank, after all. They also placed orders for special extinguishing agents. The more, the better. Among them was liquid nitrogen, not absolute zero, but still enough to drop temperatures to minus 196 degrees Celsius. It was fairly common, used even in schools for demonstrations or in cooking. What would happen if they sprayed enormous amounts of it onto the Phoenix? They purchased liquid nitrogen in bulk, stored it in metal tanks, and stacked the tanks inside the White Tower. Now all that remained was learning how to operate the firefighting equipment. They obtained manuals and videos, then practiced diligently until they became proficient. Almost all the summoned entities participated in the drills. Mari joined too, though she could not enter the 86th floor herself once she heard that the monster was a phoenix. Ding! I'll try making cold-based potions too, strong enough to seriously harass a phoenix. Magitech engineer L began researching the potion auto-injector belt that Rajix had borrowed, then moved on to crafting special ammunition. She applied inventory magic mana circuit diagrams to bullets so they could support the firefighting strategy. Time passed. Preparations for the raid advanced smoothly, step by step. After Rajix's live performance in Tokyo, the Maeda cabinet in Japan also managed to chalk up a few achievements of its own. The Prime Minister's desperate struggle, holding out against the Yakuza villain player until the very end, was broadcast vividly across Japan. It struck a chord with the Japanese public, and his approval ratings rose. The Yakuza villain player who caused the incident was captured and imprisoned. Interrogation was scheduled to begin soon. As a result, momentum grew behind calls to import mana-sealing scrolls as quickly as possible. The Japanese ambassador to Korea met secretly with Commissioner Chun Gwangil of the Korean Awakening Administration. He opened the laptop he had brought with him. The Prime Minister wishes to speak with you by video, Commissioner. He is currently unable to move about freely. After the assassination attempt, Prime Minister Maeda must have had many matters to deal with. First and foremost, identifying the NOVLIGHT forces behind the plot. Whether that would proceed smoothly was another matter. Yes, let's do that. Using the video conference program in the Commissioner's office, Prime Minister Maeda and Jun Kwangil came face to face on screen. The Japanese ambassador acted as interpreter. We need mana-sealing scrolls as soon as possible. Maeda still had not recovered from the shock of the incident. He had survived by a hair, but there was no guarantee something like that would not happen again. We will pay any price. Please supply them to us. Jun Gwangil looked reluctant. I want to help, but those are being supplied sequentially to each country in order. The backlog was already enormous. If other countries learn that Japan received priority supply, they will not be pleased. We do not need many, just enough for frontline officers. 250,000 sheets will be enough. 250,000. An amount the printing workers in Pyongyang could produce with a day or two of overtime. As you know, the Korean Awakening administration does not manufacture mana-sealing scrolls. We only handle distribution. Of course, I can relay the Prime Minister's circumstances. Then please convey it on my behalf. Jun Gwangil did not answer immediately. Instead, he only looked steadily at Prime Minister Maeda through the screen. For free. If something went out, something had to come back. It might seem petty to demand compensation, but that was how ordinary transactions between nations worked. Maeda realized that as well. What should he offer? If we double the price, money is not especially meaningful. This is a matter of trust. Then, how about items? We will offer national-grade items as compensation. Items? Items, huh? As if something had just occurred to him. Chun Guangil pulled a piece of equipment out of his inventory and held it up to the laptop camera. This belongs to you, does it not? It seems to be a valuable item. I will return it. Maeda's eyes widened in shock. That was right. The belt, the potion auto-injector, the item that some strange furball had snatched during the battle at Tokyo Black Tower. Why was it in the hands of the Korean Awakening administration? Could it be? Only then did he realize that furball must have been connected to Korea's top player. Come to think of it, he had heard that the top player specialized in summoning. Then had that top player saved his life? With a trembling voice, "Please convey my gratitude to the top player. I will repay this kindness without fail. And you do not need to return that belt. Please keep it. No, we should return it. It is not ours." In truth, Magitech engineer L had already dismantled it and finished her research. What use was there in keeping it? They could reproduce it at any time, and with even better performance. If you send someone over, we will return the belt immediately. Even after being offered the item back, Chun Guangil's reaction remained lukewarm. Prime Minister Maeda grew desperate. At last, he held up a sheet of paper to the camera. "This is the list of items stored in the cabinet's National Records Vault. Please choose whatever you want." Chun Guangil glanced at the screen. It was in Japanese. If you were going to show it, you could at least translate it into Korean. With no other choice, he opened a translation app on his smartphone and scanned it with the camera. Nothing special. If only there were a trait enhancement rune. Then, something caught his eye. "They have that?" He recalled a past conversation with player Bong. They had once discussed which items would be most useful to him. Among the items player Bong had mentioned, along with a trait enhancement rune, there was one that easily ranked in the top 5, a skill cooldown reset ticket, an item that removed the cooldown of trait skills or combat skills with reuse timers. Chun Guangil casually mentioned the item from the list, a skill cooldown reset ticket. That is quite an interesting item. He did not openly ask for it. "We will give it to you." They understood each other perfectly, and so, a few days later, 250,000 carefully packaged mana-sealing scrolls were loaded onto a ferry and shipped from Busan Port to Fukuoka Port. At the same time, the Prime Minister's closest secretary departed for Korea, carrying the skill cooldown reset ticket. The world of souls. Geppetto arrived for his once-a-day shift as a dispatched agent. "Greetings, I have come again today." "He's here. The vampire's back?" "We were waiting." "Why are you late today? Hurry up and tell us. What is happening now?" Geppetto felt proud. On White Tower Floor 17, he had been a summoned entity with no presence, overshadowed even by the Blood Wolves. But here, he was incredibly popular. Yes, this was it. A dispatch assignment really was bliss. The summoner has decided to climb the upper floors to gather materials for elixir production. Which floor? The 86th floor. Gasp! Good heavens, already that far. What about the monster? A monster on the 86th floor will not be ordinary. A superheated cataclysm phoenix. What? That's insane. What's so special about it? Think of it as the vermilion bird from your world, one of the 4 divine beasts that guards the south. This is serious. In my world, too, phoenixes were national disaster-level monsters. Without a silver dragon's ice breath or a 9-circle ultimate freezing spell, it would be difficult. Is there nothing like the ice crystal of the Northern Sea Ice Palace? What kind of strategy does the summoner have? The world of souls erupted into chatter. So Geppetto explained the plan. I am at a loss for words. I already knew it when they used nuclear weapons, a firefighting strategy, huh? If it is Earth's chemical technology, it might work. Of course it will work. Just look at nuclear weapons. Is there anything that can withstand a nuclear weapon? Once Earth's science is applied inside the tower, it becomes unstoppable. Spraying extinguishing agents and liquid nitrogen inside the tower, incredible. Just imagining it is thrilling. I really want to go out and meet that beastman laborer named Rajix. Me too. What a dream team. If only I could be part of it, standing right beside the summoner. That is this lady's dream. Come on, instead of this, let us cheer hard for our summoner's success. Go, go, fight, go. At the same time, condemnations of the new administrators poured out. Administrators, immediately cease your despicable schemes. If you want to compete, do it inside the tower. Stop fooling around outside it. If you are going to behave like that, just quit. Has causality collapsed, you bastards? Once again, the world of souls burned hot. A fire suppression operation on the 86th floor. They would show the Phoenix the cold taste of Earth's firefighting technology. 30 chemical fire trucks loaded with every kind of extinguishing agent were prepared on White Tower Floor 17. In addition, more than 100 large metal tanks were filled to the brim with liquid nitrogen. It cost a great deal of money, but that was exactly what money was for. That was also true of the donation to the fire agency. And that was not all. The potion-making ability of the homebody alchemist Mary also came into play. First, flame resistance elixir, crafted by the sage. Effect, greatly increases flame resistance for 10 hours upon consumption. Each participant in the raid would drink one, and next, offensive weapons capable of striking the Phoenix directly. Cold attribute damage potion, crafted by the sage. Effect, when thrown or directly injected, deals cold attribute damage to the target. These cold damage potions were prepared in bulk. To pour them into the fire truck tanks? No. They were to be used as cold potion injection bullets, fired from Veronica Caliber's magic gun. Each bullet had even a lowest grade inventory magic circuit applied to it. Thanks to Magitech engineer L dismantling and studying the potion auto-injector belt, she had succeeded in researching the inventory magic circuit engraved on it. An inventory magic circuit was similar to a player's inventory. Substances made on Earth, such as firefighting chemicals, could not be placed inside it. Only items made from materials originating in the tower could. In other words, liquids like the cold damage potion Mari made. Each bullet could hold a considerable amount of liquid. If it hit, the target would effectively be drenched in about 500 liters of potion. Thus, all preparations were complete. On White Tower Floor 17, a departure ceremony was held. The summoned entities participating in the raid numbered 11. Cossack, Meat Shield, Gyandale, Rajix, Mad Demon, Veronica Caliber, Bardin, Mari, Diamat, Mackenzie, and L. Among them, Rajix wore a custom-made firefighter helmet and uniform crafted by CEO Jung Dong-hun. Huh? He looked extremely cute. Let's enter. All equipment was stored in Rajix's subspace backpack. The summoned entities were called in from the penthouse. Enter. Bondad. Nija Mehinia. Pitam Brita. Now, 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 now. No, 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 no. Put in the deed. Black Tower administrators heard the clamor from the world of souls as well. Now, did they truly think the administrators acted without understanding it? Everything was within calculated tolerances. It might be a little excessive, but it would not become a major problem. Fools, do you think I do not know the former administrators? But then, he just kept climbing without end. At this rate, he would hit the 90th floor in no time. Wait, what was it again? That one? Niwajist floor. What was it again? That one? Neo this there a frost mage or any yin cold Murim practitioner? Nay, there is an alchemist, but at best that means cold potions. Then he would not clear it. The Hellfire Cataclysm Phoenix was a top-tier fire elemental spirit. It stood on par with an elemental king. How were they supposed to extinguish that fire? Miwadi Yondao. Perfect timing. I will relieve some stress while watching the summoner crash and burn. 86th floor. Mission: defeat the superheated Cataclysm Phoenix. Strategy: fire suppression. A nuclear strategy worked, so why would a firefighting strategy not work? They would show the Phoenix the harsh side of Earth's firefighting technology. Why was the Phoenix such a difficult calamity beast? Because water alone could not extinguish its flames. At minimum, you needed the authority of the water elemental king Elohim, or the ice breath of a silver dragon of worm class or higher. Alternatively, a 9-circle ice mage pouring out wide area spells like Blizzard, Frozen Storm, or Frost Nova. Only then could you barely extinguish it. But what if 30 chemical fire trucks sprayed extinguishing agent at the same time? The raid began by drawing the Phoenix toward the fire trucks. Naturally, Veronica Caliber took on the role of drawing aggro. Rygix deployed 30 chemical fire trucks across the flat ground. SSSK, SSSK. The formation was the Crane Wing Formation. Magnificent. Was this not the very formation Admiral Yi Sun-sin had used to crush the Japanese invaders? Lure the Phoenix into the fire truck crane wing, trap it, then unleash a synchronized volley, drench it completely in extinguishing agent. This was the authority of Earth's firefighting science. Extinguishing agent breath, extinguishing agent blizzard. Summoner Bong, I still have 30 chemical fire trucks at my disposal. Fire safety at all times, whether asleep or awake. Get ready. On top of that, Gyandale plastered talismans all over each fire truck. Blessings upon the fire trucks. She even performed a ritual prayer for good measure. Veronica Caliber, ready. Everyone, to your positions. Each person took charge of 2 or 3 fire trucks, ready to fire at once. Veronica Caliber completed the pull and regrouped. Juhek himself took charge of 3. He could simply use his homunculi. In the distance stood the volcano. The Phoenix flapped its wings above the crater, which was likely its nest. The heat was intense enough to be felt even from here. Spot. Veronica Caliber advanced. Pat, 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 pat. She closed the distance in an instant with rapid forward movement. Zing! She aimed her magic gun. This was not her usual gun. The latest model could fire ice bullets through elemental absorption, but since there was no frost mage, elemental absorption was impossible. So she used an older model that required pre-made ammunition. She loaded cold potion injection bullets. Each bullet, enchanted with an inventory magic circuit, held an enormous volume of cold liquid. TSHHT. Splash! The bullet struck the Phoenix's body. Its flames dimmed, a hole briefly opened in the phoenix's flaming body before quickly filling again. Tra-ra! The superheated cataclysm phoenix shrieked. Whoosh! It charged straight at Veronica Caliber. But she did not panic. She retreated slowly with tactical footwork. Another shot. Zeon! T-H-T! Splash! The phoenix's flames dimmed again. Trrrk! The phoenix went berserk, flapping its wings wildly. Retreat, reload, fire, T-H-T, retreat, reload, fire, T-H-T, retreat, reload, fire, T-H-T. Aggro was secured. The phoenix's attention was completely locked onto Veronica Caliber. Just as it reached the center of the crane wing formation, "Go!" Juhyuk shouted. All 30 chemical fire trucks fired at the same time. FWOO, an overwhelming torrent of extinguishing agent poured down on the Phoenix. These were not hose streams. Each truck had a mounted dispersal cannon. Just aim and press the button. Drown it, about 100 liters per second per truck. With 30 trucks, that meant 3,000 liters per second. The sky itself was swallowed by foam. There was nowhere to escape. Had it ever experienced anything like Earth's chemical substances, superheated cataclysm? So what? Do not stop. Keep firing. The Phoenix struggled to rise, but the relentless barrage of extinguishing agent left it completely disoriented. Then, let's go, dimensional farmhand. Hup! Mackenzie and Radix flew high into the sky using flight magic and positioned themselves above the Phoenix. Radix opened his subspace. SSSH, Hup, WH, Who. A massive metal tank dropped directly onto the Phoenix's head. Mad Demon followed up with crescent-shaped sword aura slashes. Whack, whack, do, whack, do. Dank was sliced apart just before touching the flames, and at the same moment, boom, liquid nitrogen gushed out in torrents. Was it only one tank? Do. They kept falling. Too many to count. Each tank was sliced apart in midair by Mad Demon's sword aura, dumping enormous quantities of liquid nitrogen. Boom, boom, boom. Even pure water would have been enough to put it out under that. It will go out, but even after a fire is extinguished, you still have to check it again. The effect was exactly as expected. Trrr, with chemical extinguishing agent and a shower of liquid nitrogen. Ding, rap, do, danda, ding, rap, be, danda badges, gem pando nap dij, follower, do, banda nap fiunda nap, burn, gabta napta, ganatan, ta, gun, da nata, gap, danda, gat, gapta, gap, badananap, gadanam badges have been granted, were horrified. They had never imagined such a strategy. Ma, do am foda. Fire trucks. Did that make any sense? Especially that laborer, the hamster beast man, Ragix. Mason Tisund, Ragix summanded Senaport Day. But their protests were meaningless. No matter what, even administrators could not interfere with a summoned entity's inherent skills. The administrator's stress only continued to skyrocket.